I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking about that just because I think it's important for you guys as new coaches to, we talk about the 3 vital behaviors a lot, and by now I'm sure you know what they are. We talk about inviting, obviously, which we've been covering this week in the group. And we talk about being a product of the product, which you do as a coach on a daily basis. And then we talk about personal development. And on the trip, we had the opportunity to hear from the trainers. So they got up and did a panel for us. And we also heard from the top 10 coaches. And they talked about kind of like a 4th vital behavior as being events. And so it is really important to try and get yourself to events as a coach. So as a little plug here, we have an event coming up in 2 Saturdays from now, I guess. Not next weekend, but the weekend after. It's Super Saturday, and it doesn't matter where you live. There's definitely one close by you. When I say close by, you might have to drive an hour or so, but that's close by. Let's be real. You drive that far to go to a concert or something like that, and so if you're serious about your business, you should definitely be willing to drive an hour to get to a Super Saturday. And those are quarterly events that happen, and usually they're like $10 to $20. You can take prospective coaches with you, and they'll typically, if they're not a coach yet, sometimes they're even free for them to go. And what it is you're just exposed to, well, there's usually a live workout, which is pretty awesome, and you're also exposed to a success story, and corporate prepares a video every time that it's usually like 45 minutes long, and it tells you about what's going on in the company, what's coming up. And I know that we just introduced a brand new program called Country Heat, so I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot about that. And we also talk about a success story from a challenger and a coach. So you hear about how Beachbody has changed someone's life financially, maybe, in the coaching side, and you hear how it's changed someone's life as a challenger. Maybe they've lost 100 pounds or 200 pounds or 50 pounds or maybe even 10, but maybe they were suicidal, and Beachbody in the community has helped them, you know, turn their life around. It's just amazing what you'll hear about. But when you get around these events, like I said, the 4th unwritten vital behavior is getting to these events. So the trip that we went on would be an event. The Super Saturdays, which is once every quarter, would be an event. There'll be other events intermixed. There's not a ton, so we're not asking for a lot of your time. But I just want you to know that something magical happens once you get around this community. So when we were on that ship, every single person, well, Beachbody chartered the whole boat. So every time you got in an elevator, the people that walked in the elevator with you were somehow affiliated with Beachbody, whether they were a family member of a coach or whatever. So it was just amazing to be around those kind of uplifting, encouraging, inspiring people for that many days in a row. And just everyone was so friendly. You got to meet people from all over. And I can't say enough about it. So I would really love to hear that you're all going to be attending a Super Saturday on April 2nd. Some of them are on a Friday or a Sunday, but usually they're on Saturdays. And we can help you find one if you don't know where the local one is for you. I can actually post the map in the group maybe when we end this call, and all you do is put in your zip code and it'll tell you where the closest one is to your house. And then you can look and see if tickets are still available and that sort of thing, because it is coming up pretty quickly. So that was my little plug. I just wanted to tell you about that. And if you're interested in going on the next Success Club trip, you definitely want to get on the wait list now. It is in Punta Cana next year, April 2017, and you can get on the list. You just go to successclubtrip2017.com, I believe, and there's a little link called waitlist about halfway down the page on the left-hand side. All you have to do to get on the wait list is put in your name and your coach ID and your email address and your phone number, and then you're on the list. And they will contact you. As long as you're hitting Success Club every month, that helps you stay moving, moved up on the list. And then when a room becomes available, they'll contact you and let you know via email. So even if you're all the way at the bottom of the list now, lots of people will drop out or decide they can't go, or all kinds of things happen. So definitely, if you're interested in going next year, it's worth putting your name on the list now. And if if a spot comes available and you aren't interested anymore, all you have to do is say pass, But I would definitely put your name out there, because a lot of things can happen between now and then. So it's not a cruise. It's just an all-inclusive resort in the Dominican Republic for the next one. And there are also, our group is getting so big that they've made 2 weeks this time. So there's 2 back-to-back weeks in April that we'll be going. So enough about that. Let's talk. You are inviting. Hopefully you have the date scheduled for your next challenge group, or you know when that will be. And if so, you've been inviting to that. And I know if you have been, that you're for sure getting some objections. So I wanted to spend some time tonight helping you work through those objections. First of all, I want you to know that they happen to everyone, including myself, Beth and Aaron, Lauren. They happen to all of us, and they also happen to the #1 coach in the company, our upline, Melanie Mitro. Okay, so objections are just part of life. Don't be afraid of them. Usually it just means that somebody is either A, not ready yet, or B, they just need you to break it down a little better for them. So, 2 things. The better you get at explaining a challenge group and explaining the value of what you can provide to them as a coach, the less objections you will get over time. And the better you get at realizing that not everyone that you invite or that comes to you and says they're ready are actually going to be ready, the better you'll get at just brushing it off and moving on, and knowing that there'll be a later, maybe, you never want to, they're never a no, but a lot of times there'll be a later. So don't take anything personally if they say they're not interested. Like I said, for most people, it just means that now isn't a good time for them. But what you'll find is 3 months, 6 months down the road, they'll reach back out to you and say, hey, Alicia, you invited me to a challenge group a while ago, and I wasn't ready, but I am now. And then, they'll sign up with you. And I've been around for about 2.5 years, almost 3. And trust me, I've seen that happen more times than I can count. So we will talk about the objections in a minute. But I posted something today. It was a little quick video. It was about 5 minutes from Brittany Leggett. She's a top 10 coach at one point, and she talks about how you do not want to send someone the link. Okay, so I know it's probably your first instinct when you invite someone that you say, okay, here's an invite, and I have this challenge group coming up, and their first question is always sounds great, how much is it? And your instinct is to be it's XYZ dollars, and here's the link to order. But that is not what you do, okay? So we don't want to throw out a price, and we don't want to just send them a link. So those are the 2 things I wanted you to get out of that video I posted today that Brittany, if you didn't watch it, again, it's super short. So take a look at that video. If you put the price out there too soon, that's all that your perspectives are going to see. And again, they're not understanding the value of what comes behind that price tag. So they don't realize in that $140 that they're getting 30 meals. They don't realize that they're getting you as their coach and what that actually means. That you're going to check in with them every single day of the challenge. That they're going to get all the meal plans and recipes and support. And even if you've spelled that out, it still doesn't click right away, okay? So If they're pushing you for a price and a number, I'll say something like, you know, if I can't dodge the question, I'll try to redirect. And I'll say, you know, it's about $4 a day, but I'll completely turn the conversation back on them and ask them, let's talk about your goals. What would you like to achieve in the next 30 days? So you're constantly going to try to turn the conversation back on them and asking them questions about them and their goals. So why are we doing that is we really want to dig into their why. Because later in the conversation, when they're giving you objections, you can say, I understand that you have concerns with the price. So did I. But, you know, you told me that you want to get healthy because you want to be able to play this summer with your son, and you want to be able to be a good example for him. So then you're giving them, you're throwing right back at them what they just told you, and it's kind of like it hits them real deep. And they're like, you know what, you're right. Like, I'm going to spend that money anyway, eating at McDonald's or eating at Panera or whatever, so I might as well invest in myself. So make sure that you are really asking tons of questions in your conversations. The more, I call it ammunition, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but the more that you can find out about someone, the more you have in terms of using it, not against them, but using it with them in the conversation as the objections come up. Same thing with asking them what they typically eat. I ask that almost right away in the conversation. Tell me about a typical day of eating for you. What does your nutrition look like now? So I'm already expecting that they're going to tell me that Shakeology is too expensive or the challenge pack is too expensive. But if they go and tell me that they eat lunch out every day at work and they go through the drive-through and they stop and get a coffee on the way to work. So do you see what I'm saying? So if they tell me all that in advance, I can just simply turn it around and show them. You're already spending X, Y, and Z here. Now, all you need to do is take that and replace it with Shakeology in the morning for breakfast instead of stopping at the gas station on the way to work for your coffee and your egg sandwich. And you've already taken the money you're already spending and we're repurposing it. So that's just a few tips and things that have worked for me over the years as I've been inviting this, like, questions are the answers almost. That's kind of like my mantra. Like, that's what I want you to get out of tonight. The more questions you ask, the more answers you'll have for them later when the objections come up. So I want to give you a few minutes to give us, Beth and Aaron, we will all help you get through some of these objections that you're getting. And if you can just ask us ones that are coming up, and you can just say, okay, here's one that I keep getting. How could I respond? We can give you some suggestions if that would help. And if you have other questions, of course, the floor is open as well. So who wants to go first? What can we help you work through? You know, we're all hoping you get Success Club this month. We're going to help you achieve that, and we still have 11 days in the month. So, all right. Anyone have any objections they're coming up with? Or they're getting often unable to get past?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. A couple that I've been having is like they might be interested in the shakes, but they're not interested in the workouts because they're a runner and they go running, or they are interested in the workouts but they don't like to drink shakes. You know, like they want to do like pieces and parts of it, or they're interested in the challenge groups but not the rest of it. So how do you deal with like trying to explain to them why like the combination of all three are so powerful?
So I had a good one for your first one. If you have someone that is interested in drinking Shakeology, but not necessarily a challenge pack, I have done where I will pick whichever one is on sale for the month, like the 140 number. So already going to spend $130 on Shakeology by itself. So I'll just throw out there to them and say, hey, I understand you personally aren't interested in, because you're a runner, you might not want to use the workout. For $10 more, you can get an entire program. If you don't want the program, you could regift it to someone, or I will buy it off of you. So I've done that before, and it works like a charm. So if I buy it off of them, then I can give it away as a giveaway. And if not, then a lot of times they'll be like, you know what, I never even thought of that. I'll give it to so-and-so. They have a birthday coming up. So even if you just throw that out there, a lot of times they didn't even think of that. So the other one I've gotten is if they're not a runner and they're not really looking for a specific workout, a lot of times the on-demand challenge pack is nice because it's $140. It's also only $10 more. And they get access to the whole on-demand library for 90 days. And they can try any workout in there. They don't have to worry about getting bored or committing to one program. So for $10 more, they get access to that. And they can do it on their phone, on their laptop, anywhere. So that's just a good one to do. I very rarely just sell Shakeology because I always get them to bump up, even if it means I pay them $10 extra and buy the program from them.
My runners really like the 3-day refresh.
Good idea. Forgot about that one.
That's always on sale. It's been on sale for like 8 months or something. I feel like $10. So I'm saying, do you know what? You really want to kickstart your results? Let's do this 10-day refresh or 3-day refresh. It's $10 extra. You get this and this. Not only that, but then this will open you up to 30 days of Beachbody on demand. Or my runners also like Pio to help on their off days for their knees.
So the 3-day refresh has a challenge pack also, is what you're talking. Okay.
Yep. Sorry, just wanted to add that in.
I always forget about that. Good idea. So if they just want to work out, I typically, everybody does it differently. Sometimes if I'm not doing a test group, I'll typically let them in my challenge group without Shakeology if they just buy the program. Because I know that the majority of the people in the group are going to be using the Shakeology and talking about it and loving it. Mm-hmm. And my hope is normally that they'll hear about it so much that they'll want to try it. Not every time they don't, I'll be honest. But as long as they buy something, I'll typically let them in my group. So you could always do that, but that's up to you because it's your business. And then if they don't buy anything from me, I used to have like a general support group that I would put people in. But I think the main key, like you said, is helping them see the value in the challenge group as a whole and in the 3 things together, the workouts, the shakes, and then the challenge group. So I think something that I'm going to start doing, and a lot of people have done this, I don't know why I never have, is like the first question that you'll get is like, what is a challenge group? So I think that we should all have a video somewhere of us like explaining what is a challenge group, And so in that video, whether it's like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, just make a quick video on what it is and what actually happens in there. That way they can see the value of the, you as the coach and what you're going to provide. And then you don't have to type it all out every time. And then you can just zip off the link to them when they ask you exactly what a challenge group is. You have it. So that might just be something valuable for you to make that you could use and save. And that hopefully after they watch it, they would realize this is something that they really want to be a part of. So there's not a perfect formula, and everyone's different. But I think hopefully those things helped. Anything you want to add, Beth?
No, when you guys were talking about I definitely always upgrade. I hardly ever sell just Shakeology for sure. The 3-day refresh or whatever is on sale, the same with what you guys said. And yeah, I very rarely, I don't I'm not one of the people that say you can't join my group if you don't buy Shakeology. I don't do that, but I do, you know, really try to make sure they understand the difference between, you know, if they just go buy their own protein or whatever somewhere else. That kind of happened in our March or 20-minute hardcore recently. Somebody posted they didn't really like the shakes, and somebody else started posting, I don't like them either. I'm using this protein shake from GNC, and I did try to post, you know, that it's not, Shakeology is not a protein shake, and, you know, just so, because I feel like when that happens in the challenge group, then other people are like, oh, you know, why didn't they have to buy the Shakeology? I had to buy the Shakeology, and I don't really like it either. And they're, you know, so that's why then I posted about the Shakeology video with what you're getting and everything like that in there. So, I mean, you kind of want to make sure they're just aware of what, you know, the difference is, that they're not, that it's a meal, that it's not, you know, and that all the superfoods in it and everything. But I don't really feel like I get a lot of objections once people fully understand that I'm not selling them a protein shake that they can't buy at Walmart.
I do make all of my challenges by Shakeology in one form or the other. If they don't want to commit to the 30 days, I will at least make them try it for 5 or 7 days. And they'll just buy that right from me. I tell them, you know, that I understand where they're coming from, you know, that I'm a picky eater too, and blah, blah, blah. But I usually, I used to be the kind of person that was like, just so excited that someone would buy something from me that I didn't, that I was like, okay, you can come. But you have to realize that these challenge groups take a lot of time, and you're providing a service, and you're not doing it for free. And you have to kind of take that out of it. I will bend certain rules for friends or family, but for the most part, I don't. And they usually come back and say, okay, I'll try it.
Perfect. So the ones that aren't willing to commit to, if they see that you're doing like a 5 to 7 day group, that's like a good way for them to get on board too, because then if they weren't willing to go all in for a challenge pack, then they might just try a 5 to 7 day group, you know, down the road, which is a good way to get them interested. So it's always nice to run those smaller groups for people that aren't really ready to commit and go all in on a challenge pack. And usually when we do those 5 to 7 day groups, then they see really awesome results and they're hooked, and then end up in challenge pack sales. So those are always really nice to run too, every once in a while. And usually we do like, we don't necessarily do like a free, we do free groups too, and those are nice, but then we'll do like buy 7 days worth of Shakeology, and we'll just sell our own packets, or however you want to package them. You can kind of do your own thing there, whatever you think is, but the free groups are also nice because that's how people can get in and see exactly how the groups are ran, and then they end up really liking them. And they're like, wow, I could really see how this could benefit me. So if you have someone that's on the fence and maybe not seeing the value in the group, throwing them into a free group would help them see how helpful the groups could be. So yes. Okay. Anybody else have? Oh, go ahead. I was going to see if anyone else had any objections.
I kind of just going off the same thing. I have someone who's in my challenge group right now. She's doing 21 Day Fix Extreme, and she's young. You know, she's like 22, and she's a good friend of mine. So I think it's harder for me to have this conversation with her because she is a good friend of mine. So she really likes the shakes. She says she feels good. She's doing really good. I mean, this is only the first week, but she's done really good, you know, sticking to the meal plan. But she's like already telling me that she wants to cancel her Shakeology for the next month because she can't afford it every month. And she's like, well, I'll just, you know, go to GNC and do what she was typically doing. And I, you know, really tried to give her, you know, explain to her that I felt that way too. And that, you know, I wasn't sure if I was going to stick with it after 30 days. But that I did, and that now I feel even better. And I really think it was the second month, like now is when I'm really noticing how much better I feel, and like my skin's clearing up, and like my nails are growing. And so I wish she would just give it another month. but she's already like texting me like, can you cancel this for me, or how do I do this? So I don't, and the fact that she's a good friend, I'm just not really sure how to handle that or go from there.
So here's what I would do with her. I would tell her that she can delay it for a month. And then I would give her the opportunity. I would say, do you know that, well, I would say, I know you're really liking the group, and I know you like the Shakeology, but you have concerns about the price. So I wanted to give you an opportunity for like a referral program or something like that, to where if you found 3 friends to join you in our next group on April 4th or whatever, you could actually get your shakes paid for. And that is like kind of how you can find working coaches. So she would basically be selling 3 challenge packs, and that would get her commission, and that would pay for her shakes. And she could be a discount coach, or she might end up saying, hey, I can do this and I kind of like it, and let's rock and roll, So that's just something you can throw out there to her.
I like that. But then if she's dumb and doesn't go for that, can you show me later how to delay her Shakeology?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So just as a side note, you can delay.
She's doing great. And I know, like I said, I like the shakes right from the start, but it's now, now that I'm near the end of my 60 days, that I'm like, okay, this is the real deal. So.
And I think it's okay to tell her that. I think it's okay to tell her, in your experience, you were using GNC protein and you liked it and you loved it and you were happy with it and you had no intentions on like staying with Shakeology. But now, like you said, in your 60 days, you're noticing all these changes, and so you would encourage her to continue using it. So here's why, and here's how you can get it paid for. And so if they want to delay, customers can go on like an every other month thing. They can do like an every other month. They can delay up to like 3 months. I don't publicize that, but
yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I'm glad that we talked about the whole, money thing. And the video that you posted today was really helpful too, because how much is it is like everyone's first question, and I get it. Like, it was one of my first questions to you too. Like, I understand, but I've kind of been, I know not to give it to them right off the start and just tell them the price without it kind of explaining what all they get. I wasn't doing that or anything, but I was giving it to them, telling them the price right away. So she kind of showed, and you guys have kind of talked about today, how to delay that conversation, so it's not the first thing that they think about, but they think, oh wow, I'm getting all of this for $160, instead of thinking about it in a negative way.
Exactly.
The better you get at the interview process from the start, the less objections you'll get, because instead of them coming with an objection and you constantly coming at them with something else, you already have the background information. So if you just store that information, all right, they told me they go out to eat this many times. Okay, they told me that they don't have time for a workout. So then every time they throw an objection, you could say, well, you told me that time's really important for you. So that's why I thought of this program. Or you told me you eat out a lot, so this would actually save you money. You already have all those things in your back burner. So the better you become at the interview process, the smaller your objections will be, and the better you'll get